Hello, builders. Sorry you can't see me. Let me clear all this grass out the way. Hello, builders, and welcome to another edition of Don't Be a Boring Builder. That's right. Oh, yeah, don't also have crosshairs on your nose. Today we're going to take a look at, dun dun dun, we're going to take a look at structures. Basically structures that are built with a sense of support and a sense of realism. So I have a couple examples, and then we're going to go look at some bridges. But first of all, I wanted to show you this. This is a with the stained glass that came out. I had some ideas to kind of go and use it to make a kind of like a church. But then I started looking at it, and I said, "Oh, well, maybe not a church. Maybe like a meeting hall." You know? Oh, sorry. Here we go. So you can see there's the great fire-breathing boar or dragon's head or something. Come on now. There's the eyeball, there's the teeth, there's the snout, there's the fire. You can see it. Anyway, so I got to working on this, and hopefully it'll turn night eventually, and you'll be able to see it, because this looks really good at night too, with this hardened clay, this dyed hardened clay. It actually looks almost luminescent, like kind of glows with this soft rosy glow. Anyway, so one of the things I wanted to show you is basically is making things look like they belong in the world. This is an example of some heavy timber construction, right? So you've got a post here. You've got posts on the outside. You've got beams on the outside. But let's face it. I mean, when you put two pieces of wood together, even if they were the same type, even if they were both spruce wood, they don't look like they go together. Obviously, if you built a log cabin, and had one of these every other one, that's only really done in the real world by notching out, the top half of a log at a certain spot and laying them over top of each other. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Lincoln logs on the internet. Actually, those of you who are my age, and maybe some new folks too, since retro is in, will know what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, you can't do that in Minecraft. So what I like to do whenever I do something like have an intersection or something like that, I like to do something at that intersection. I don't care if you come over and put, one of these or something like that, to basically give it a sense of, hey, these aren't. It's we're not talking about just this. And hey, how does this side and this side connect to that? It doesn't. And no, of course it doesn't have to, but let's make it look like it does. So one of my favorites is actually to use the furnace block. Not so much the inside, but on the outside. To me, it looks like some giant staples, or like a metal bracket that kind of goes around and ties these two things together. So that's one of my favorites to use. The other thing that you can see that I've done on the inside here is I've gone in, and obviously to hold up this roof, we don't need anything. That's the beauty of Minecraft, as I'll demonstrate in a minute. You could basically lay this roof up here, and you're done. And you would have all this wonderful open space. You could fly around in here. You could put another floor in here, whatever. But let's face it, that's not how the real world works. And if you were building this in the I can't. There, I was going to say I should be able to get through there. Oh, I'm missing a piece. Darn, my truss is broken. So yeah, so that is actually what this is called. These are called trusses. Oh, sorry, I was using the dark wood, the dark spruce wood, dark oak. Oops, sorry, dark oak, not dark spruce. There we go. Do I have them on both sides of there? Yes, I do. Do I have them on both sides of there? Yes, I do. All right. Anyway, I created these basically. Trusses are there's a wide variety of different kinds. Basically, it's interconnected pieces of wood that, by their design, they carry loads differently than just a simple straight piece of wood going across. Again, I'll show you another example in just a moment when we talk about bridges. But so for this, I mean, let's face it. If you've ever been in any kind of dining hall kind of place, especially one that's supposed to look less than modern. We have a oh gosh, what's the name of the place? Busch Gardens is here. It's a theme park. Then it's basically built around like the old country Europe and whatnot. So you often see and you know these fake beams and trusses and things like that that make it look like it would have in the old days, back when they had to have things like that. Really, what is it? Well, really, it's like, you know, steel and concrete and everything, and you know, it's not required to stay up, just like in Minecraft, but they put it in for the effect. So there you have it. There's some interior trusses, and unfortunately, you can't make diagonal pieces of wood in Minecraft. So I've used the stair connected to the stair. If you put them back to back and run them up, you can get a decent 45-degree angle. 45? Yeah, it's about 45. Unfortunately, you can't do this out of logs, which would be nice, but because you know it would look a little more realistic to have these out of great big logs. But obviously, if you you know start doing this, and the sorry, whoops, I wanted to give you an example. And this, and then that, and then this. Yeah, that doesn't look quite as realistic. You know, for one thing, you've got the whole open face thing going on. So anyway, so that's one example of actual structure in here. Now, if this really was a real place, these shingles would not be going that far all by themselves. Obviously, they would have little pieces of wood that would run across from here to here. So I'm not saying, you know, overdo it, but it's just an example. Anyway, another example of support is different types of. I've got these different types of lanterns in here. You know, I've got lanterns on this side held up by fence posts, just sticking out of the wall, kind of like you would a little bracket. What the? Oh, for a second there, I thought he was a golem, an iron golem. And over here, I have actually used the fence gate. Now, of course, the trick to placing the fence gates is that they cannot be placed in midair or on the side of something just like these can. You actually have to place a block below them. Then you can place the fence gate. Then you can remove the block so that and then, of course, obviously, you have to open them up. And it looks like these little brackets come off and hold it up. You can use that for shelves and all sorts of things. I also have these lights here in the middle. Unfortunately, there isn't anything that equates to a chain, like if you were hanging light fixtures by chains or anything like that. So, fortunately, if you do it right, you won't have these. Obviously, you can do those just vertically. You can hang them vertically, and you'll get that. But I've decided to go from the two diagonals, like they would be hanging over like a large central table or something like that. And it looks like they're hung from kind of like chains from the ceiling. No, it's not perfect, but hey, we do what we can. This is something that obviously just became available. The windows that are in place, I obviously could have come back in here with wood or something like that, or I could have made the entire thing glass. Obviously, the entire thing being glass is not really that realistic. So what do I have? Since they've decided to make the iron bars and the window panes connect to one another, very cool, let me tell you. I've decided to use that to my advantage, and basically I have essentially window panels. This is a window panel, this is a window panel, this is a window panel, that's a window panel, and these are basically the supports in between. Again, it's all about support, folks. It's all about support. Alright, so that's all I wanted to show you in here. I do have some examples, again, more about supports. Going to look at some bridges outside over to my right. But and then I'm going to show you some what I call real-world examples. We're going to go into my family, the Family Fun Time server, and see what some of the folks have done in there. But just again, just to kind of show you, you know, like I say, don't be a boring builder. Use this silly kind of stuff. I mean, I've just got to cover in lights just so that it's not, you know, what fun is it to have that? I mean, you can have that, sure, if you want the texture, but maybe you don't. Maybe you want it to be kind of partially concealed, you know, or have it half showing. You know, I'll tell you what, you can make some very interesting things by, you know, doing that. So experiment and try, but definitely, obviously, these guys are limited because they only fold up and down, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, you know, you do this and you've got that little channel there. So you know, like I said, experiment, do different things with it, see what works, cover up the ends of your logs. Alright, so before we head over to the bridges, time, set, day, we're going to go watch the guys burn. Yeah. Alright, now we're going to go and take a look at our bridges. Oh, we have a volunteer. You want to go across the bridge, see which one's more sturdy? Go. Ah, see there. He's heading for the bridge. No, you don't want to do it. Okay. This is a bridge. It's the simplest bridge, and it's unsupported. Basically, you know, essentially it's like you took a giant plank of wood, a giant log or whatever, and just said, hey, I'm going to go and run this across. It's kind of like in the old days, you know, they'd cut down a tree and just lay a tree across and say, hey, George, you know, you be the first one to run across that to the other side. And George would be like, I'm not running across that thing. So, see, he does. He wants to go. But basically, you know, yes, again, in Minecraft, you don't have to have it supported, but it looks, well, it doesn't look normal. It doesn't look right for, you know, what we're used to. So I've got a couple other bridges in here to show you. Oh, you want to try this one? That's right. Alright, so here is a truss style bridge. It is supported. Now, what I've used here, and now you can kind of see it. Alright, this is basically a truss. A truss has a bottom cord, it has a top cord, and it has webs that go up and down. Why can't I get past? Oh, it's the log. Unfortunately, I've made small bridges. This would be much more impressive and much more obvious if it were in a very large scale. Like if you have a very large ravine, if you have, say, you've got an island out there and you want to connect it to the mainland. I chose to use logs as my bottom cord and these flat slabs or half slabs as my top cord because I wanted to have a little bit of variety. I didn't want the top cord to be very thick, and I didn't want to do the bottom cord in what is that, in planks. You know, I didn't want it to look like that because then I was like gonna fall. That's ridiculous. But I didn't want it to look all like that kind of wood. So I went ahead and it did some extra stuff. Now, this, despite being flat, you know, with the proper truss configuration, would actually work. If you look at some of the old railroad trestle bridges, that's what they looked like. They had the truss type construction. Now, for detailing, I've done a couple things. Again, try not to be boring. Obviously, you know, if you've got this, God grief. Sometimes I wish you could set flight for a certain level and stop there. Depending on how big your truss openings are, you might have a danger of having people go through them. Maybe you're in an adventure world and you don't want them to be able to fall out. You want to direct them. So you need to fill in the holes. You know, fill in the holes with fences. Or go ahead and fill in the holes with fence gates. You know, that works too. All different kinds of things you can do to put in the details. Now, in this particular case, I've sort of made this covered. Generally speaking, if you had a truss there and a truss there, they would be connected at points across the top. Either that or they would be Whoops. Darn it, I'm breaking this. Oh, I'm really breaking it. Well, anyway, they would have an X, usually a truss running across the top as well, so that there would be a cross member there and a cross member here. Something that's a little easier to do if you have an odd number in the middle and an odd number going this way, so that the two can cross at a center point. I didn't. Again, it's not that large of a bridge. So I just went with the simple straight across, and then I decided to put all these here. I was experimenting with them up, I was experimenting with them down, and I said, hey, what about flat, kind of like a covering, keep the rain off. So, again, that's a supported bridge. It certainly doesn't have to be elevated. I went ahead and did that for visual purposes to make it easier for you guys to see it. And again, I've got my favorite little connector block there for where my logs horizontal beams run into my vertical columns. Alright, next up we have a half-finished bridge. This is my version of a covered bridge, that's the covered part, and a rope bridge. This is what I call faux support, because what I've got is I've used the fence posts and the fence gates to simulate, well, for lack of another word, ropes, like a rope bridge. Basically, you'd have an anchor point here with posts coming up. You would have the rope coming across. You'd have it connected periodically, either to, planks that you've run across, or in my case, I've got these. Whoops, there. I've got the trapdoors set up. Just trying to give it a little bit of a different look, and you could have it open like this. I like to have something going across the top. You don't have to. You could also have this go basically with these quote-unquote ropes tying into the tops of logs, if you wanted to. I've also gone and done the other half more as a covered bridge sort of thing. Just put a roof on it, basically. That's it. That's all I've done, is put a roof on it. Again, it's just a matter of the details. So that's another example. Now, like I said, that's faux support because technically speaking, that probably would not span that ravine. So, all right, let's see. We've got one more, and this is one that I'm sure more of you are familiar with. Hold on just a second. Alright, we're back. So this is a suspension bridge, and this is a supported type of bridge. Now, I've taken a few liberties with the materials because obviously, again, strings and cables are not available. So what we basically have is we have our pathway, our road, if you will, that runs across here and down the other side. Now, how is that supported, you ask? Well, basically what you have is you have that roadway supported on planks or something that runs in between, and those planks are connected to vertical cables, and these cables go up to a longer, heavier piece of cable. Now, I don't have any kind of cable that I could really use, anything that really runs horizontally. If anybody has any suggestions, I'm open to them. But so anyway, so what I've done is just basically used the half stone slabs to kind of simulate that. That's a cable that goes up, and essentially what happens is you anchor those cables either at the towers on either end. Sometimes they run up and over the towers and then anchor further back here. That would be the really big kind, because otherwise, essentially all the weight that goes across this bridge pulls down on these, pulls down on the cables, and wants to tip these towers over and collapse it all into the ravine. So don't want that to happen, obviously. That's why, like I said, a lot of times with the monuments, they'll run them over the top and then off into an anchor that's in the ground. That way, basically, this is just acting to kind of support it up in the air, and all that weight going down is also going down the other side. All right. But anyway, so that's an example of a rather small suspension bridge. It's a bit of overkill for such a small ravine, but hey, it is what it is. And just to add some fun to it, of course, we had to light it up. I went ahead and added again. Yeah. Well, no, you can't go across the bridge. It's a toll bridge. You have no place to put a purse, no money. Anyway, I also wanted to go ahead and try to add little flags or pennants to it, because we are crossing from the blue side over to the red side, or the red side to the blue side. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I tried different things, because I do like to put little flags. Obviously, if you have a much bigger bridge, you can put much bigger pennants, much bigger flags, and you can make them look much more full and wild and fun and crazy. But what I've done instead, since I have little short ones, we figured out a way to put them kind of on a diagonal, look like they're blowing in the breeze, at least if you're kind of, not looking too closely at it. So, don't look too closely at it, and don't be a boring builder, and take a look at adding different things to it. Drive around your neighborhood. What do you see? If you live in the city, what do you see? I can tell you, going across the bridges from New Jersey to Philadelphia a couple times, they've got quite a few bridges. Most of them are suspension bridges. I believe they have a large box truss bridge. Here's one of our workers here. He's got this must be the foreman. He's got wow, full golden armor, golden enchanted pants, and an enchanted bow. Seriously, how am I supposed to go? What if this was like a brand new world and I came across you? I'd be dead. Anyway, so there's some examples of how to introduce proper support into your builds, and especially if you're going to go and build bridges. I really recommend you try it. There's nothing cooler than having a great big bridge across a ravine that maybe you've got near your house, especially if you want to get to the areas on the other side. So this is fine to start with. I get that. Which one of us hasn't gone and done a dirt? I gotta stand on this. Hold that shift key over that lava pit. But let's face it. I mean, that's great for getting across in a pinch, but why leave it there like that? Let's find. Oh, I wanted to push him off. Ah, there he goes. All right, I'm going to pause it now, and when I start it back up, I'm going to show you some examples of stuff in our Family Fun Time server. Be right back. Hey builders, I wasn't actually going to start it in here, but this is my hobbit hole in the Family Fun Time server, as many of you will notice. And for those of you who have watched my videos before, you'll know that one of the things I've done is I've put in some wooden beams across the ceiling in a couple of these places. Actually, I have one that kind of is continuous from here across to here, and I think I carried it into the kitchen. Unfortunately, I couldn't tie it into the end and still up in the chest, but you get the idea. But anyway, that's, again, it's an example of, does it have to be there? No, I can make it dirt. It won't fall down, I promise. But let's face it. Ooh, well, I got to be careful in here. I'm not in creative yet. Let's do that. Game mode 1. Anyway, so just an example again of, don't be a boring builder. Let's go and do this. Yay! All right. So in the meantime, I'm going to head over to our little boat connection device, and I'll tell you all about that in another video. But in the meantime, I'm going to head over to where the support things are. Be right back. Welcome to Corn's Island. Yes, folks, this is Corn the Zombie's little island, and we'll take a brief tour, and I'm going to show you a few things that he has done. I've been very impressed with some of Corn's work. He is one of the kids in my neighborhood, and I like some of the time that he spends with his work. So we'll take a look at this and show you one or two other things, and go from there. So let's see. First of all, as you can see, definitely working well with the "Don't Be a Boring Builder." Whether it's the supports here, I think actually these supports serve two purposes. They also keep Cody. Oh, he named him. He did name him. That's Cody. Cody the Golem. But yeah, he keeps him Nemo. It also keeps them from getting outside. So he guards the inside, but doesn't get out. Yeah, look at that. No rain. Let's see. But no, what I wanted to show you, at least in part, was down here. Where is it? How do I get there from here? Can I get here from here? I just went around in a circle. That's right. Oh, wait a minute. I think it's in here. I think it's in the bar. Is it in the bar? Yes, it is. All right. Here we are in the pier side beverage distribution center, and he's got this wonderful underground or underwater viewing port. I don't know what he's going to do in here eventually, but that's what I wanted you to see. I wanted you to take a look at that. Underneath each of those piers, we've got pilings, and those pilings go down to the bottom. I mean, they go down to the bottom. As a matter of fact, you can look all the way over there at his neighbors, and that pier goes all the way to the bottom. And that's dedication, because obviously, you know, most of the time you're not going to see it. You're not going to see those. You're not going to be underwater. You don't care about the underwater, and you know, that's fine. You're right. You don't. But that's how they would be. Wow. That's how it would be, and gosh golly, this is, as a matter of fact, is this deep ocean? No, that's technically beach, but I'm guessing, yep, look at that, deep ocean. That is deep ocean. I heard that they actually had to use water-breathing potions to get them all the way down there. So, not surprising at all. So, yes, kudos, definite kudos to the guys for using that, for doing, I'm on fire. For going all the way with it. It's definitely worth the effort, I gotta tell you. And last but not least, here's another great example. I don't know why I hit F3. They've taken advantage of the larger than normal portal size and wanted to stick it off and away from their actual place of living, because that noise can get annoying after a while if you're around it a lot. But hey, we're not just going to stick a big cobble slab out there. They went with the 45-degree angle, step to step, and came back. And not only did they put it here, but then they actually took it and tied it sort of back into the dirt. So again, you know, mad props to not being a boring builder. Corn the Zombie, I definitely like. You know, ditto for the railing going all the way up the side, for the different use of stone. It just, it's great. I love it. I really love it. So, and like I said, also over there, you can see them from here. I'll tell you what, this deep ocean really makes for a great shot. You know, you've got all those piles that go all the way down there. Do you need these? No, you don't need them. But that's the way it would be in the real world. And hey, you know, okay, sure. You know, if it gets down to the bottom and you start running out, build up the gravel or put some dirt down there to make it, like, you know, a little mounded, whatever. But you know, do something with it. So there you have it, folks. Definitely don't be a boring builder, and you know, enjoy Minecraft. But remember, it's a sandbox game. You know, the idea is what can I do with it? What can I do with it? What can I do with it? Well, you can do all sorts of things. You just have to think of it. There's a lot of villagers in there. Well, folks, I have to go and police the server now and find out why there are villagers in this little castle thing. But you guys have a nice night, and hey, look at that, 12:07, not bad. That's about 25 minutes worth of video, so it should be reasonably short. Thanks, and don't be a boring builder. Good night.
Pile of coal.
No, it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
You're so wonderful.